Hi everyone and welcome for that lesson on the conditional. The conditional for me it's a tense that is fairly easy to use and to form. It makes a good impression if you put it in a foundation paper, and if you're going for the higher tier, it's a must. So you can't skip it, definitely not if you're going for the higher tier at GCSE. But if you're going for the foundation, I would say it's an easy way to get some marks. So let's have a look at it. How do you use it? When do you use it? How do you form it? We're going to answer all of that. So the conditional, you use it when you want to talk about what you would do if certain conditions were met. So the translation for the conditional is that I would do something. You use it, like I said here, provided that certain conditions are met. For example, if I had a dog, that's in the imperfect, but if I had a dog, I would go for long walks. If I had money, I would buy a fancy car. So it's always that kind of condition that you can include, and that's really great to build extended sentences to. So how do you form that tense? If you have watched the video about the simple future, well, you might as well skip right away to the endings because the beginning is exactly the same. So that makes it even easier to use. So let's pick three infinitives. So that's obviously the rule for the regular verbs. I'm going to go over the irregulars at the end of the video. So we've got to dance, to choose, and to take. What happens with those infinitives? Like for the simple future, you keep, for ER verbs and IR verbs, you keep that infinitive, and for each one of your pronouns, you put your infinitive down exactly like it is. You don't change a thing. For RE verbs, there's the same little tweak. You get rid of the E at the end, and once you've got that stem, put it down all the way, and that's it. So now you've got your stems for the conditional. All you need to add is the endings, and like for the simple future, there's one set of ending for all the verbs, so it doesn't matter if you have an ER, an IR, or an RE verb, the endings will be the same for each pronoun, sorry. So let's go with the I. I would dance. The ending for I in the conditional is AIS. For to, the ending is again AIS. So far, not too hard, it's the same. For il, elle, and on, it's AIT. For nous, it's IONS. For vous, it's IZ. And for they, it's AIENT. And in terms of translation now, you've got I would dance, je danserai. Careful, if you want it to sound like a conditional, you really need to pronounce. I know we tend to skip the E's normally, but here we need to hear it. Otherwise, it will sound either like nothing French, either like a different tense. So make sure you pronounce it. So, je danserai, I would dance. Tu danserais, you would dance. Il danserait, he would dance. We would dance, nous danserions. Same here, we need to hear the I. Vous danseriez, you would dance, plural. And ils danseraient, they would dance. Please notice here that this, and this will sound exactly the same. Danserait, 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 danserait. So no matter if the ending is spelled in three different ways, it sounds the same. here you have, I'm not going to do the whole column again, but you have I would choose, you would choose, he would choose, and here I would take, you would take, and he would take. So that's the rule for the regular verbs in the conditional tense. If you want, and if you're working at home, if you haven't already got notes in your books about that tense, please pause the video and make notes about that if you feel like it. I'm going to give you a quick translation exercise from English into French using that tense. If you want to make it an easy practice, just have a look at that on the side on your notes and do the exercise with your notes. But if you want something a tiny bit more challenging, learn that set of endings. Once again, you can pause the video now, learn that, and try to do the exercise without looking at your notes, using only your memory. So you do it the way you want. I am moving on. So here's the exercise. You've got 6 verbs with each pronoun. You've got the infinitives here. You've got the pronouns I want you to use. And you can take as much time as you want to do that. Please pause the video and I will mark in a few seconds. So here we go. I would sing. So put your I. It's an ER verb, so you copy it exactly the way it is. You don't change it. And check your ending. For I, it would be AIS. You would finish, once again, IR verbs, so you put your to, you put your infinitive, keeping the IR, and then check your ending. I'm not bringing the rule back, but it's AIS. She would wait. That's where you need to pay a bit more attention because it's an RE verb. Copy the infinitive, but don't copy the last E. And the ending for he or she or we is AIT. Once again, like for the simple future, the reason why we get rid of that E is pronunciation reasons. If you include that E here, that verb suddenly becomes absolutely impossible to pronounce for a French speaker, let alone an English one. We would study with nous, so you put your nous. It's an ER verb, so copy your infinitive entirely, and then put your ending IONS. Nous étudierions. That's how you pronounce it. And here you do not pronounce the E, it's a mute E. I know the E's are annoying in terms of pronunciation. I apologize, I didn't make that rule. So, nous étudierions. You would go out. Vous, IR verb, keep it entirely, and put your conditional ending. Vous sortiriez. They would paint, once again, RE here. So, they, let's go with elle. Though if you put il, it doesn't matter, it's exactly the same. So they would paint. Copy your infinitive, don't put the E down, once again, it doesn't work if you try to pronounce it. And then put your ending for the conditional with they. And sorted. I hope that looks like what you have on your books. That was for the regular verbs and the regular pattern. Now, as always, there's always a bunch of irregulars, always the same. You know that table if you've watched other videos before. You've got the same 4, so to have, to be, to do, to go, and it works once again exactly like the simple future. So instead of following this rule where you keep the ER, you keep the IR, and you get rid of the E for RE verbs, forget about that. Those 4 verbs have their own stem. So each one of them has a specific stem that they will keep for the whole tense. So for to have, it's AUR, to be SER, to do FER, and to go IR. Once you've got those stems, all you need to do is to put them down for each pronoun all the way down. So you've got something like that. And then to form the conditional I would have, I would be, I would do, I would go, you just need to remember those conditional endings and to put them down all the way. So let's go with it. I would have, j'aurais. That starts with a vowel, so you keep the, well, you get rid of the E and you put the apostrophe. You would have, same ending, he would have, we would have, you plural would have, and they would have. The verb to be, I would be, AIS, you would be, same, he would be, AIT, we would be, you would be, they would be. Then the verb to do, I would do, you would do, he or she or we would do, nous, that's IONS, we would do, you plural would do, and they would do. Therefore, you can easily imagine the endings here. I would go, you would go, he, she, we would go, we would go again, you plural would go, and they would go. So here we are with the irregular verbs. Once again, you don't necessarily need to learn that whole table. All you need to know is that this verb works with this stem, same here, same here, same here. And if you know your endings, you're sorted. So actually it doesn't look like a massive bunch to learn if you know the stems and if you know the endings. Now, it's all very well to teach you the tense, but you might want a concrete application in a sentence that you can put in a writing or in a speaking. So if we want to use that tense, that conditional, and if we want an extended sentence with a condition at the beginning or at the end, it doesn't matter where you put the condition, we could pick, if I were rich, I would live in a castle. So if I were rich, if is si. I were, that would be your imperfect tense. I'm going to do a video on that tense at some point, so keep checking if it's coming up or not. So if I were rich, si j'étais riche, I would live. To live in a house, at least it's the verb habiter. So you've got an H here followed by a vowel sound, so you need a J apostrophe. Then it's an ER verb, so copy it exactly like that. And then put your conditional ending, j'habiterai, in a castle, dans un château. And then you could say, and it would be wonderful, and you're using an irregular verb in the conditional. So that's how you can play with this tense. I hope that was interesting. Now have fun with it. See you guys.